but she like gets the sugar monkey on her back and she like just gets obsessed with it. Yeah. Which I do too. Like, I get it.
Itching her neck.
Yeah.
She's like, y'all got any more?
Y'all got any more of that? Welcome back to Chill Filtered, the podcast where we drink whiskey so you don't have to, but you probably should. You probably are. Hey, that's why we like you. Great seeming episode today. We're drinking a 17-year single malt Irish whiskey. But before we talk about what we're drinking, ooh, nice. Before we talk about what we're drinking, anything like that, let's talk about some business. Reach out on Instagram. I thought about this the other day. I was like, okay, we have some great listeners that we have great relationships with. And it all started with them reaching out on Instagram for the most part. So we will take that from you. If you want to be connected with us, if you want to know us more, we want us to know you more, hit us up on Instagram. We're down to talk. We're down to chat whiskey. Even if it's slightly life, slightly whiskey, we'll take it. Yeah. So
that is what the podcast is, after all.
Yeah, exactly. That's what separates us from the rest, you know? So yeah, maybe one day we'll be too busy to get back to people, but we're not there yet. So
we'll never be too busy. We're gonna Nick Taylor found North this and
That's
always
true.
answer
If he
emails
can do it,
Saturday morning.
Yeah, if he can do it, we can do it. Yeah. We'll have to quit our jobs though. What are you entry buzzing on and how are you doing?
I am entry buzzing on my favorite Irish whiskey that I own. Caveat that with what I own, because I don't own a lot of Redbreast. I do own Redbreast cask strength. I didn't want to go cask strength today. So I busted out the old red spot. Yeah. So this is by far my favorite of the spot line. I do think that blue spot is the cask strength one is delicious also, but cask strength I didn't want to go high proof. I do think I like the red spot over the blue spot just in general though, as their best offering. But I will say that the spots don't normally measure up to what Breadbreast has going on.
Bread rest. You got to let that bread rest. You know what I'm saying?
Bread rest. Yeah. Bread rest 15, baby.
Yeah. It's like proofing, as they say, or leavening. You got to let that bread rest.
I just realized cool. I've got a Redbreast 18 sample from my buddy Rob.
That's
I should have gone in on that.
Have you sipped it? I forget. Did you?
Not at all.
It was not what I expected.
Oh, he had it at the bottle share, right? I didn't even try it.
Yeah, it was not gonna give anything away. But
actually,
not what I expected.
I'm gonna have to dig that out wherever that is. Maybe when I'm gonna walk break myself on over to my sample box and pull that out for because Egan's 17, which I'm not sure if we actually said. Yeah, that's close. That'll be a good comparison.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, 17, 18, probably not too high proof either one of them. Yeah. Well, I know what the Egan's is. I forget what the Redbreast 18 is. Yeah. I like the Missouri Oak Redbreast. That was good.
I didn't get to try that either, but I stuck to my plan, and fortunately, I did not overindulge during the drink along or during the bottle share. That is most important. So there's always another day.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the beauty of typical drinking. You can spread it out real nice.
The key is to drink regularly.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, just always make sure you have some sort of interval of drinking.
Right, for sure.
Yeah, what a great last weekend. It's weird being, back in our separate studios.
Yeah.
But that was a great weekend. I mean, it's only a week ago I was out there, or less than a week ago I was out there.
Yeah, it was exhausting in the best way. We had just nonstop stuff going on. Yeah. So that was fun to have so much stuff to do, but also now fun to actually have a weekend day where I can stay home.
Totally. Oh, also fun thing. I was looking at your bottles in the background and I thought we need to do a, what do you call it? A rescinding. What's the term? Like apparently, according to at least your drinking buddy, the mash bill of the E.H. Taylor barrel proof rye was different than your standard Buffalo Trace mash bill. Even though I didn't find anything like that online, I kind of trust it, or at least I'm willing to say consider it maybe true. I don't, but he said that the DSY or whatever, or what did they call it, DSP or DSY code on the back of that bottle was, or on the bottle is Barton.
So yeah, if I remember correctly, what the deal is because the rye is bottled in, because the 100 proof rye is bottled in bond, you have to say all the distillery codes on there. And so the bottled in bond one has is it Barton? Has some other code on the back. But because the barrel proof rye is not bottled in bond, you don't have to include all of the codes. Take this with a huge grain of salt. I didn't do this research myself, but it appears that they left off that code on the barrel proof.
Oh, so the Barton, or you're saying, here, look at it. Pull the bottle up right now. Does it say DSP
Please hold.
KY 12 on it is the question.
No, because I'm pretty sure 12 is Barton.
Yeah. And so you're saying it's not Barton. The barrel proof is not Barton.
Well, it's either not Barton or they didn't have to disclose every distillery
because it's not bottled in bond. I hear what you're saying.
Yeah. So this is KY 113, which is Buffalo Trace, and that's all they put on this. But that's all they were required to put on this.
Yeah.
So who knows?
Very interesting, because I had no idea. First of all, the Barton even made rye.
Right.
And second of all, that they even used anything besides Buffalo Trace juice in Buffalo Trace products.
Yeah.
So that's crazy. But I could see that being the case.
Yeah.
But I could also see
it
not being the case.
I think it took ice for me to finally taste strawberry fruitiness on
beyond that herbal.
But
kind of.
Yeah. And I mean, I think we both agreed that we liked Handy better overall.
Yep.
And the E.H. Taylor rye just did not have as much like fruity cherry as the Handy had, if I remember correctly. So, you know, I could go either way.
Dude, Buffalo Trace, standard Buffalo Trace products are my jam. My jam. I had no idea about that. I had no idea that the E.H. Taylor straight rye was partly distilled in Bardstown at Barton. Yeah, that's crazy.
And it sounded like the theory was that it at least used to be Barton or partially Barton, but over the years they've phased out the Barton component, and they just haven't wanted to run a new label through the TTB that takes off the Barton number yet or something. I mean, this is all just supposing.
Yeah.
Who knows? But like that's entirely possible.
Yeah. Huh. I'm glad they're not blending Barton bourbon into things.
Yeah, me too.
Not a big Barton guy.
Oh, and that was the reason why he gave us the 1792 home aged as like or that was the reason why he said that would be a fun pregame.
Interesting
to that episode, because in his mind, and we didn't know because we didn't know that about the rye, but he was like, oh, haha, they're both Barton.
Interesting. Yeah, I wondered why he said that, because that's why I kind of leaned towards maybe this is a rye. What we drank last time with it. I was like, maybe that's why, but I did taste kind of rye notes, but
yeah. But you also asked how I'm doing, and man, we got the windows open today. It is a gorgeous day. I'm curious to hear if there's any background noise that comes through on this, but it's worth it because the windows are open.
Birds are chirping, tweedledee.
I got a nice breeze coming in. It is just a glorious day.
How's the temperature right now?
I think it's 68-ish.
Whoo! That's great. Wow.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is here. It's probably about the same.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, let's find on out. Yeah. So, over here, it's been nicely cool. Yeah, 63 here.
Nice.
So, take that, world.
Yeah. What are you entry buzzing on?
Actually, something you might appreciate if you could see it.
Red spot.
Yeah, same thing. Yeah, that's the only. Okay, so right now, out of bottles, or rather even samples or bottles So this there is one in the pool. You sent me 2 by accident, so this is my
Good.
extra.
Perfect.
But out of the extra samples or bottles that I have, that's all I have besides Jameson Black Barrel.
Yeah.
That's the only, and so that was one of the reasons when you were buying all these 20% off whiskeys, I was like, oh, get me a Redbreast cask because I need some good Irish here because I finished all my Irish bottles, and that's kind of been a recurring theme with the podcast is like Irish whiskey goes quick for some reason, like it's just like gone. Like I told you
because
guys
it's crushable.
yeah, no, that's partly it. And but I
Right.
also said, like the fastest bottle I ever not personally drank, but like saw get finished was that Green Spot Chateau Leoville Barton.
That sticks out in my memory. I remember you saying that.
Yeah, it's just like I brought it to a event and it was crushed. Like an eighth of a bottle left by the end of the night. And that was my family. And my family doesn't even drink that much.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was great. So Irish whiskey is just crushable. But drink responsibly, people. Family. Yeah. You know who I was talking to the other day?
Who?
Miles friggin' Ferguson.
Oh yeah, what's he up to?
It was a great time. Oh, he's retired. He's loving life. He's like I go golfing like twice a week because he lives like right on a golf course, basically. Like one of those houses that's like a golf course.
Awesome.
And so I'm like, dang, that's pretty fun. I gotta go visit him. He's only maybe like 3 or 4 hours away, but he's in North Carolina these days. He used to live in Richmond.
Yeah.
He's living near Wilmington area. So
nice.
Yeah, right near the beach. That's like the coast and south of the Outer Banks, basically.
Nice.
So that was cool.
So he was just calling to catch up?
No, I called him to catch up. Yeah.
Oh, good. Yeah. Cool.
He was wondering how the everything went, and he was sad he couldn't make it, but next year.
Yeah, well,
Madison
speaking
2025.
Yeah, even though we're late, we still need to rep some stuff on Instagram, do some reels or something, because Found North loves to reshare those.
Totally. Yeah, I got a picture of Chris speaking while he was like, telling everyone about the whiskey.
Nice.
Do that. I'm sure other better photos were taken too, but yeah. So
nice.
Well, I wrote it down as notes to get to before the history, but let's talk about it. Christmas is coming.
Yeah.
The goose is getting fat. You know what they say. That means 2 things here at Chill Filtered. No, that means 3 things. The chilies are coming up in December. Year-end recap, which is, in my opinion, the least cool of the 3 things that are really cool at the end of the year. Secondly, we're going to be doing our 2nd annual Secret Sampler. And for those who don't know what a Secret Sampler is, it is a Secret Santa based on 4 or 5 whiskey samples. So it's a sample share. But what we do, what we did last year and what we loved doing last year, and we were like, we totally have to do this again, is we say categories of whiskeys. And last year we were like, hey, what's a good entry buzz? What's a good show off whiskey? Daily drinker, stuff like that.
And then something funky.
One. Something like crazy out of the ordinary. And so this year we're going to do it again. But we're gonna like, send like, hey, Ben Klepsa, he's gonna send a Miles Ferguson this year. Well, that's not how. I mean, it might work that way.
Spoilers.
Spoilers, but no, we're gonna decide who gets who and who's gonna be matched up with their giver and receiver and all that stuff. But it is super fun. And then what you do is you like code each bottle and say, hey, this is your, daily drinker, or this is your surprising special one, or this is your show off one. And then you, in the same, package, you send the whiskey in, you break it down and why you sent it, as well as what it is and all that stuff. So it becomes pretty fun. Actually, I got, last year, I got Bryan Duncan sent to me, and it was
right.
Good.
He basically he sent you 2 sets. 2 sets.
He did, which is totally allowed. Totally allowed.
Send whatever you want.
Beyond.
I sent my guy like 12 samples, 13.
Oh, that's amazing.
I just started lining them up.
Paul Clarkson? I forget.
South Carolina. I'm just blanking.
Yep, Paul Clarkson.
Name.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So if you're interested, we're gonna put out some surveys soon. To show, you can say, hey, I'm in, and here's my address and all that stuff. So it can be shared with your gifty or gifter rather. And then you get sent the information of the person you're sending to. So, and I'm thinking, Bryan, maybe we should expand it to just beyond our Patreon this year. So
Yes.
anyone interested can sign up, but you gotta kind of like, you won't be invited back if you're, if you're a troller or anything like that. But I don't expect people to come in and troll and like just take and not give.
Right. And what we do is we send out messages to people who support us on Patreon
Yep.
to send out the form to say, here's the secret sample, blah, blah, blah. So you either need to join the Patreon so you get those messages, or at least reach out to us on Instagram so that we know you're interested. Otherwise, because we're not going to blast this out to the entire world, we're going to email it to the people that we know are interested or are already members of the community.
Yeah. And if you don't have Instagram, you can hit us up at chillfilteredpodcast@gmail.com. So
perfect.
Yep. And then thirdly, for the end of the season, we do our annual gift giving celebration. It'll be our Christmas episode. We do this every year, at least for the past. I mean, we've been doing it since the first one, but the first one, me and Adam were giving gifts to each other. But that's what we do. So Bryan and I each send each other gifts. But if our listeners, our viewers want to send us gifts, we offer them something great. The chance to win 1 or 2 bottles. Last year, I remember a Ode to Isla was involved, a Weller 12 or no, Weller Antique was involved. And then I
sounds
sent
familiar.
an Albert T. Lee.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
There was one other bottle. I forget what it was, but it was like some nice bottles. Like, so here's how it works. You're not guaranteed a bottle if you send a gift, but you're in the running for best gift and random received, like randomly received gift. So if we're gonna spin the the wheel to say, hey, of all the people that sent gifts, one of those people will get a bottle, the random bottle, and then there's the best gift as well. So whoever Bryan and myself decide is the best gift they received, each one, me and Bryan, will send out a bottle to that person, and it'll be a nice one. And we'll list what it is ahead of time. We haven't decided yet.
4 bottles up for grabs.
4 bottles up for grabs. Actually, Paul Clarkson won 2 bottles last year.
Oh, did he?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, dang.
Yeah, because he sent one was the random, I think, and one was the best. And he sent some really nice gifts.
His was the ice cube.
The ice cube stamp thing. Yeah. It was like brass,
awesome.
so it kind of very good conductivity for ice.
Yeah.
And it would just sink in and put a cool logo on it.
Yeah. While we're talking about community outreach stuff here, community involvement, barrel pick pre-sale information.
Oh yes, please bring it on.
Is going to be coming out soon. So we don't have any hard dates yet, but they said within a couple weeks is when they would be dumping the barrel, filling bottles, and starting to get them sent out to distributor. It will be run through Seal Box. The box of seals, as Cole loves to put. So they're going to run through Seal Box. Couple weeks out. So what we're going to need from you guys, and here, I don't know, in the next week or so, I'm going to send out a Google form asking you how many bottles you would like to purchase, because the way that this is going to be handled is we will compile a list of all your email addresses and how many bottles you want. We will send that to Sealbox. Sealbox will send you custom invoices to whatever email address you provide. You will get a link to pay for X bottles, and then boom, they get sent to you from Sealbox. And he did confirm that if you're Sealbox Pro, you will get shipping comped.
Shipping.
Got to use that code, whatever it is. And I know what it is. I'm pro. I'm just kidding. Anyway, so yes, please respond to that in a timely manner, because we'll need that information within the next week or 2.
And basically no limit. We're not going to take people that buy 20. That's for sure. We're not going to seriously consider sending 20 to one person, but basically no limit. And the cool thing is that, here's Found North's reputation with Sealbox is that Blake, the guy who runs Sealbox, was like, no, I'll take whatever you got. And if you don't sell them all to your listeners, I'll take whatever you got and I'll sell the rest like easily. So that shows one, how good single barrels from Found North are. But then also it's awesome that, like, we're not on the hook for like any of this. They're gonna sell them all. We know that. And that's the beauty of, our first barrel pick being such a banger, is that we're not super worried about that. And it's awesome. And I'm probably gonna get about 4 myself.
I think so too.
Because,
That was my number I landed on. Yeah.
yeah, one, I loved it. It was amazing. Oh, for the record, it's going to be between about 100 and 110 bucks a bottle. Just going to put
Plus
that
ship.
out right now. Plus shipping.
And tax.
And tax. But you can bundle shipping to some extent. Maybe not like 20 bucks for 4 bottles, but it'll be cheaper than doing 4 shipments of 1 bottle.
Yeah.
So that's about it.
Yeah,
But ask
and
if you have any questions. Yeah.
Very nice of Sealbox to do this. They are, as Cole was saying, they're so confident in how well this sells that they are happy to pay for the barrel and take all the risk, little risk, and then turn it all around at the end for just the world to buy after we're done. There will be a limited amount of time for you to pay on that invoice once it's received before the floodgates open and the rest of it sells out.
Good point. And then just so we can, not everyone was there. John Hughes is thinking, I don't know, is this barrel even worth it? Well, John Hughes, I'll tell you, this was one of the most honey palate bourbons I've ever had. Not bourbons, honey palate whiskeys I've ever had. It was very, very beautifully honey. What were some of the notes you were getting, Bryan?
The experience wise, it was so rich. The finish was surprisingly long. Predominantly spices, baking spices, a little more spicy than baking spices. It was tingly. But that experience lasted a really long time. And I'll tell you what I did to that barrel pick. I brought the 3 Reddit blends.
Yeah,
that
beat them all to me.
They're good.
Yeah,
but they're not quite. I don't know. I struggle to feel like they were worth it. And so I brought those to the pick so that I could drink those against what we were tasting. It was like, please be better than these Reddit blends. And they are miles better than the Reddit blends.
Yeah. But not Miles Ferguson better.
No one's that
no one's Miles Ferguson better.
And one more thing, just to harp on it again. Cole did say this, but there is absolutely no pressure for you to buy
We're not worried.
If you came to the pick and you decided this isn't for me, if you came to the pick and decided this isn't for me, please, there's no need for you to buy bottles. You're not helping us out by buying a bottle. Please just do your own thing.
I'll tell you this, though. It's going to have our little sticker on it, and it's going to be cool.
Right. I'll get into this later. But Sam is helping us out with the sticker there. And we'll share some more details on that because we did do some Instagram business on that. So I'll reveal that at a later date.
That's cool. All right. We're going a little long, so maybe we should send it to a quick break where you can grab your Redbreast 18 sample on your quick walk. And we'll come back. We'll talk about Egan's Legacy Reserve 17-year. And we'll talk about the history behind it, and we'll drink it. So here we go to break. All right, we're back. Real quick shout out before we get into anything that I haven't already covered. Shout out to Bryan Duncan, baller.
Oh yeah.
Because he sent us the sample. So thank you, Bryan Duncan. What a baller. Go ahead.
Oh, you know what? Yeah, I'm going to be pouring it in a Glencairn that was also given to me by Bryan Duncan.
Nice, Garrison Brothers. He loves Garrison.
And also, man, I'm not going to. I can't say what it is, but Bryan helped me acquire bottles of a lifetime.
Like unreal. What I saw. Like and he not only unreal, it shows what kind of dude he is by these bottles. Like if someone helps you get these bottles, you're like, that dude's the real deal. And that's friggin' baller Bryan Duncan. I feel like I need to give him 4 dings. Why 4? No reason. But anyway, let's get into it. Or no, I should have given him 3 dings, I guess. Or should I give him 4?
Well, he's up to 5 now.
Okay.
If you accumulate all the dings, and I gave 3, so he's at 8.
Okay, cool.
You know, if you're keeping track at home, yeah.
Woo! Yeah. Okay, so we're talking about Egan's Legacy Reserve 17-year single malt Irish whiskey. We've never actually done an Egan's Reserve or Egan's Irish whiskey on the podcast, so this history shouldn't overlap with much. The last time we featured an Irish whiskey was actually 39 episodes ago, so it's been almost a year. Episode 292, we drank Red Spot 15-year.
Nice.
It was a single pot still Irish whiskey. This is a single malt. So let's talk about Egan's whiskey. Here it is. Here's the bad news. Not a lot here. Egan's is a revived Irish whiskey brand that didn't have much history from the original brand, at least that I could find on Google and stuff like that. But there's not a lot of current history or background, but I did find enough to feel comfortable giving a history background. So let's talk about the original brand, Egan's, Egans. So in 1852, 2 brothers in Ireland, Patrick and Henry Egan, they started a company, P&H Egan Ltd. Limited, in Tullamore, Ireland. Here's where I learned something really cool, actually. Well, once I talk about this. So yes, P&H Egan Limited was just a general merchant regarding beverages. They were known for bonding, though. And so when I ask you, what is bonding, Bryan? What do you think?
Think of United States bourbon bonding.
Yeah, 100%. Yep.
Yeah.
And bonding in Ireland is very different from what you'd expect bonding to mean in American whiskey. We've talked about bonding warehouses and the Bottled and Bond Act of 1897. We know if a bottle is bonded, what it means in the U.S., especially regarding bottled and bond bourbon. So what would it mean for a bottled and bond bourbon to be a thing? It needs to be at least 4 years old, 100 proof from one distillery in one distilling season, and is aged in federally bonded warehouses. That's basically what it means to be a bonded bourbon. But not the same meaning of bonding in Ireland. Bonding just means the practice of a merchant buying new make spirit from different distilleries, then aging and blending it in their own warehouses to create a unique whiskey expression, often incorporating various types of casks to achieve a specific flavor profile, often bottled under the name of the brand, of the bonding brand. It's what we know in the U.S., in the States, across the pond as non-distilling producers.
I was waiting for those words.
Yeah. So anyway, this is what they're doing. And even today, this is what they're doing in the revived brand. Taking from other distilleries and potentially doing their own aging and selling it in their own bottling. But here's the interesting thing. For this bottle to be called a single malt gives us a little extra insight. If you remember, listeners and Bryan, single malt Irish whiskey needs to be from one single distillery. That's not the only rule to be single malt Irish whiskey, but it needs to be from one single distillery. So that certainly doesn't mean it needs to come from the distillery that made it. So even if someone's bonding Irish whiskey, at least it just needs to come from one distillery and not multiple. So really, if you were thinking this whiskey would be a blend of different distilleries, you'd be wrong, as they wouldn't be able to call it single malt Irish whiskey, which this bottle is called single malt. Single malt differs from single pot still, something like Redbreast or the spot whiskeys are all single pot still whiskeys. And the difference between the two, for the most part, is just that single malt needs to be 100% malted barley. And single pot still is a blend, and there is specific ratio rules, but it needs to be a blend of malted and unmalted barley. Other rules too, but for the sake of time, I'm not going to get to them all. You can listen to some other episodes and it'll talk to you about that. But anyway, the brand was revived by Jonathan, Rupert, and Maurice Egan in 2015. They have a variety of options these days, according to their website, including some blended options, some single grain options, which are so blended is kind of the bottom tier rules. Single grain is the second bottom tier rules, and then you're going to get to single pot still, and then you're going to get to single malt. That doesn't mean it's best at single malt. That just means that the rules are more strict at single malt. I prefer a single pot still. Usually, I find that the Irish Distillers does a great job with single pot still. And what is it? Middleton Distillery does the best job with single pot still recipes. But Redbreast is out of Middleton Distillery, as well as I think even Jameson comes out of Middleton Distillery. They have actually, it might come from multiple because Jameson is a blended Irish whiskey. But at least some of it is in Cork, County Cork, Ireland. So anyway, they have a variety, including blended, single malt, single grain, and single pot still. Or no, I'm sorry. I take that back. Egan's does not make single pot still whiskey. They make everything else.
Nice.
So Egan's Legacy Reserve 17-year Irish single malt whiskey. This is a single malt, like I said. So 100% malted barley coming from a single distillery. There is not a Egan's distillery. So they are sourcing, as we know, they are a bonding company. And I'd assume this might be from Tullamore Dew. Why do I say that? Tully Dew does make single malts. Not all the time. They're known for their blended Irish whiskeys, but they do actually make single malts. And though they're no, I said that. Plus, Egan's is located in Tullamore, Ireland. So
I remember you saying that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And spent some time. This specific one. This is batch 3. Not batch 3. Release 3 is probably a better way to put it. Spent some time in Cadillac barrels. That's right. Barrels that were used to age Cadillac cars. Just kidding. Cadillac wines, actually. I've never heard of this. Have you heard of this?
I have heard of it purely from a finishing cask standpoint.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Cadillac wine has to come from, or better yet, Cadillac in France is a AOC. And I'm going to do my best for Jason Preston here because he's French Canadian. To say this in French, AOC is an appellation Georgine contrôlée.
Nailed it.
Which means basically it's kind of like cognac, Armagnac, champagne, those kind of things where it's like it has to represent the terroir of the specific region. So like cognac has to come from the cognac region, Armagnac has to come from the Armagnac region, Bordeaux, Champagne region, all these things. Like it's a very cool thing in France. And I actually respect it a lot that they say, hey, this is, in order to call it a Bordeaux or to call it a Armagnac, it needs to come from this area. And they're very proud of their regions in France.
Who else speaks French?
Brian Duncan?
No, I bet Max was yelling.
Totally. He does speak French. Yeah, Maximilian
yelling at his car stereo there while you were saying that.
And you know who else is yelling at his car stereo? John Hughes, because he probably speaks French too.
Yeah, even if he doesn't, he was yelling.
Probably yelling this. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So anyway, Cadillac wine has to come from Cadillac sur Garonne. I don't know. Which was also, we used to be known as just Cadillac, a city called, or a town or region, or like a place called Cadillac in France, which I guess is where the name of the car came from, which makes me feel even more fancy for driving a CTS for a while.
Yeah, well, you can't call it a Cadillac car if it wasn't made in France. Yeah,
exactly. It's an AOC. So Cadillac was in the and still Cadillac sur Garonne or whatever is in the Bordeaux region of France. And to be called a Cadillac wine, it needs to be part of a certain grape and sweet white wine, basically, that comes from that portion of the Bordeaux region of France. Doesn't mean it's a Bordeaux wine, because Bordeaux wine needs to be red wine, I believe. But it's a Cadillac wine, which is a sweet white wine from a town from the region of Bordeaux.
Nice.
So that's the finish here. That doesn't mean it was fully aged in a Cadillac cask. It was finished in a Cadillac cask. So this release is number 3, like I mentioned, which is extra. Their legacy reserve releases are their extra fancy ones. Usually, what I saw was there were only 4 releases, and they apparently stopped there. But they're all between 16 and 18 year aged whiskey. I didn't look up every individual batch, but some were 16, some were 17, some were 18 years. This one is 17 years aged, 46% alcohol, 92 proof. From what I found at the total wine price, it was hard to find. Couldn't even find anything recently, but what I saw was about 180 to 220 retail. But I don't know if they sell it anymore. So, but that's all the history I got.
Yeah,
So
I
report
believe
out the
I believe Bryan got this as a gift from a
Nice.
client or some sort of business relationship. Somebody gave this to Bryan as a gift. Did you know that this was the batch 3 because it says 17 year? Is that how you figured that
No,
out?
because it says Cadillac cask.
Oh, okay, cool. So
Mhm.
not all the batches were
Yep.
Cadillacs. I'm
Yep.
sorry
Some
if you said
were
this
other
earlier.
wines and stuff like
Okay,
that, but this was the only one that was Cadillac cask.
gotcha. Well, cool.
Pouring it out for this
Yeah.
homie right here.
And so while you were doing the history there, I
Mhm.
was drinking between Redbreast 18 and Red Spot 15.
What'd you prefer?
I actually preferred the Red Spot 15.
Same.
The
I was
Red Spot
disappointed
had
with the
this.
Redbreast. Yeah. So
Yeah.
go ahead.
The Redbreast had this kind of, it had like a permanent marker, Sharpie thing going
Mhm.
on.
Yeah.
And it's that was mostly on the nose. On the palate, it leaned toward the honey side, but it was a little too, there was some weird bitterness with that honey.
Mhm.
The Red Spot kept more of a little bit deeper caramely
Mhm.
palate that I
Yeah.
resonated with a lot better. Yeah. But
Yeah, it was the finish for me, from what I recall, for the Redbreast 18 was just not as sweet. It was a little bit bitter and surprisingly not Redbreast to me.
yeah.
Redbreast is tropical fruit. Redbreast is just purely sweet, refreshing even. And that wasn't so
Yeah.
much up the aisle of Redbreast territory for me. I did like the Missouri Oak. So if you hit up Rob again and he wants to give you a sample, ask for that Missouri Oak. It was
Oh,
good.
yeah. He'll have
Mhm.
that open. I'm sure there'll always be another day. But,
Before I remembered on the nose, before I remembered that this was a finished whiskey, I was like, this smells like white wine to me. But then I was
oh,
like, oh, that
interesting.
makes sense. It was a sweet white wine finished Irish whiskey.
There
So,
is a
okay, another thing. No, go ahead.
particular maltiness to this.
Mhm,
Um, I would I think if we were reentry buzzing this, I would say that it
mhm.
was a Scotch ultimately.
Ooh, single
That
malt.
it just there is some really, really fruity, bright, high
Very
register
fruity.
fruits going on here. But
Mhm.
it's not like a thick fruity. It does
Yeah,
it smells like it's not necessarily going to taste like juice.
yeah,
Um, but it smells like it's got this little funk that I
mhm.
associate with single malt.
Yeah, and that's understandable. So, we've talked about what makes a refreshing single malt in the Scotch side, and usually it is the um, like the higher volatile ethanol makes it through the still. We've talked about this with Ardbeg, where they have a purifier that will cause it to have a little more like highly volatile only, or like at least the higher volatile ethanol and everything else makes it through, but not so much the back end. Other one, Glen Grant, has long, slender, tall stills, which usually brings a more refreshing kind of note to that. But on the other
Yeah.
hand, if you really want the high volatile single malt, you might triple distill it, which is usually not always the case, not legally required or anything, but usually what you'll find on Irish whiskey is they are triple distilled, which means they're
Yeah.
getting the most pure, not the most pure, that's probably a bad way to put it, but the most high volatile gases that come through, which is mostly ethanol and water. But that's why Irish whiskey is typically more refreshing than Scotch, because Scotch typically only distills twice, or does certain things like purifiers or long, tall, slender stills. But then Irish whiskey is usually, in general, more refreshing and crisp because of its triple distillation. Not always the case, though.
Talk about refreshing, though, man.
Oh yeah,
this is good. This is good. Just right off the bat, hot take. I think I prefer this.
Barracuda.
I know. I think I prefer this over the Redbreast, or sorry, the Redbreast 18 and the Red Spot 15. I think that this Egan's is my favorite over the two. It's got, it's like, it does have like a white wine bitterness, very slightly bitter, like sides of the tongue. It's got tons of fruit, but it stays really thin. The palate stays thin and refreshing. It's got all the bright high register fruits on the palate, just like the nose, and the finish lasts a really long time too. And I did a double take. I can't believe that this is 46%. I cannot believe this is 92 proof. Reentry buzz, I would have pegged this like 106 maybe. Just in terms of like having weight and having intense flavor behind it, I would have pegged this at a higher proof.
Yeah, the thing that I'm getting, so at the front of the palate, you're like, oh, right, white wine. But then it transfers into very fruity, very light tropical fruit notes to me. Surprisingly so. Like this rivals Redbreast 21 in tropical fruity notes. The difference, in my opinion, is this is lighter, slightly, potentially lighter might not be the word. More, no, lighter might be the word actually. What I find about Redbreast 21 is it's kind of oily in a tropical fruity way too. Like it's kind of rich. This is, I wouldn't so much call this rich compared to Redbreast 21, if that makes any sense. It is as fruity though, which I dig. So
yeah, there's a thinness about this palate that keeps it super light and not at all like there's not a oily mouth coaty grain in this whiskey's body. But there is tons of flavor mouth coaty. Like there is so much to taste here, but it's more of just it's thin and refreshing, as I said already.
One thing to note as well, a difference between this and Redbreast 21 is the finish. The finish is good on both, but it ends a lot sooner on this one. Does that mean it's bad? Heck no. Does that mean Redbreast 21 is better? I would say yes. The Redbreast 21 finish. From my recollection, lasts a long time. This is a lot less age or a lot less length of finish.
If only we had a Redbreast 21 to compare with. If only they weren't
500 these days.
I know. Ridiculous.
Dude, I remember buying one for $250 a few years back. Yeah.
Crazy.
And then $350 a few years after. But now it's $500. Yeah.
Yeah. There is a distinct, well, okay, I say distinct, but I don't mean that in that it's a prominent note, but this has a characteristic grainy thing going on here too. I don't know if that's because it's a single malt relative to other of the so was this column or pot still? Did we don't know where it's from, right?
So all I know is from my recollection, most Irish whiskeys are column stilled. From my recollection. And I think grain whiskey or single grain needs to be column stilled. But so single malt, I actually do think, I correct myself, I do believe single pot still and single malt need to be distilled in a pot still. I'm almost positive now. But grain does not require, in fact, might require a column still. You know why?
Yeah.
Because Aeneas Coffey, the inventor of the column still, was Irish. I don't know why that makes it official, but it is kind of cool that Ireland was the one to think of. You ever see that meme? I'm talking a lot today, but you ever see that meme that was like, this guy goes to the Wikipedia page of Irish inventions, and they're like, once Ireland invented the column still or like distillation. Basically, they were like there wasn't another invention for like 300 years or something like that. I always thought that was funny. They're like, oh, they didn't need to invent anything after that for a while.
Yeah, right, right. Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about. The graininess on this. Do you see that at all? It's like
Yes, but it's
yeah. It's like a fresh cut
very
hay,
crisp.
but it's like a 2 out of 10 level
Mm.
tasting note, like fresh cut hay kind of thing.
Yeah. This is much better than I expected. Here's the question though, Bryan. You come to Total Wine and you got $500 to blow and you have to blow it. You have to spend this money. Are you going to buy one Redbreast 21 or are you going to buy two Egan's Legacy Reserve 17-year Cadillac casks? And you have to buy Irish whiskey. And you have to buy between those two, I guess.
Well, dang. I mean, this is what blind tastings are all about. Not that blind tastings are a definitive, like once you do it once, you figured it out and that's it for the rest of your life. But like what it would come down to is if I was somehow able to do a blind of this against Redbreast 21, that would be the deciding factor. Right now, I am predisposed to like Redbreast over just about any other Irish whiskey. So I would be buying the Redbreast 21. But I do believe that what I'm drinking right now is delicious today. And actually, have you added water yet?
Yes, and it actually somewhat improves it. It is
I agree.
Very refreshing.
Yes.
One
I think
other
it's
thing
even
to note,
a little more fruity too with water.
Yes. And the finish lasts a little bit longer, in my opinion. The other thing about Redbreast 21, I had a really good thought and I just lost it. What was it? I'll think about it later.
Was it about the price? Because Redbreast 21,
No.
if you walked into Total Wine with $500 and you blah, blah, blah. None of that?
No, it was like, this is... I don't remember. Whatever. But very fruity, very delicious. Yeah, this is great.
Well, Irish whiskeys with ice.
Oh, I do remember it now.
Oh, good.
Oh, yeah. Irish whiskeys with ice are pretty much always worth it.
Hurry, go before you forget.
Okay, quick. Dang it, did I just lose?
No.
So Redbreast, I gotta like re-pick it. Oh, this is the best single malt Irish I've ever had. Normally, I love single pot stills because I'm like, because I love the brands that single pot stills makes, like the spot whiskeys, like Redbreast, like Middleton's. But I've never had a single malt Irish whiskey that brought out these level of tropical notes before.
I'm not sure I've ever had a single malt Irish whiskey. Unless I
come to mind. Tully's got a few. I believe that is it Teal something?
Is it Teeling? Teeling sounds...
Teeling. That's right. Teeling.
Yeah.
And then another one that I tried, one of the ones we did on our first 10 episodes, I believe, was Sexton whiskey. It's got a cool bottle. I don't even know they're still making it. But it had an interesting hexagonal prism bottle. And yeah, it was single malt from my recollection. But good stuff. Okay, so I'm gonna drop a cube real quick.
Cool. I'm actually done. Man, usually I'm the one lagging, but I'm done with ice. Don't let me influence you as always, but the ice to me did not do it any favors at all. It was good, neat. It was a little better water, but then the ice just kind of tanked it for me. The way that ice made it different, at least for me, was it kind of brought out some like savory, deep caramel kind of stuff, but like it absolutely wiped out the high register fruits. I don't get any of the nice juicy tropical pineapple anything at all anymore, and it's kind of bitter, and it's just like darker caramely, still with a thin mouth feel. So then all the finish ends up being is just bitter. It was just whatever.
I agree.
You're like,
it's not better.
Like, yeah,
the
what
water was the best pour. No,
yeah. Yeah. I agree. I
The
think water
finish
was great.
is the worst part about the ice pour. I don't know if that's what you said, but it dies off pretty quick. It turns into just basic Irish whiskey on the finish.
Yeah, basic.
Yeah, basic. And what's that from? Is that
I don't know.
I know it's like Mindy Kaling or whatever.
Nope. I have no idea. You know more than I do.
Oh, you know what? No, it wasn't. I don't know if this is the origination of it, but there was a episode of Always Sunny in Philadelphia where Mindy Kaling was in there, and
Oh,
she's
nice.
like, "You basic."
Nice.
Basically, did you watch that show?
I've seen
Yeah,
a good number of episodes, but I've definitely never like sat down
yeah.
and watched all of it.
She was like taking over as the new dentist, and they're all like, "We don't like you," and she's like, "You basic."
I saw something recently. It was like It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia begins filming its 16th season or something. Like
Poodles season.
it's been around for a while,
It's been
right?
around, yeah, and it's so funny because it's like they only do like a few episodes a season. They were one of the first like shows that only did so many episodes as opposed to like 24 like
Oh,
episodes
right.
per season back in the day. 22 to 24.
Is DeVito still on it?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Good.
No, everyone's
Good.
still in it. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
DeVito's
actually oh, he was great.
the reason I watch. Yeah.
Yeah. And they would push him to the limit of his like even just comfortability. Like he's actually apparently a really nice guy.
I believe it.
But they would be like, "All right, this time you're going to nakedly come through a couch and act as if it were like a childbirth." And and he's like, "Oh, from what I hear, he's like, all right, I'll do it." But actually, shout out to Bryce Marita for sending me the Four Walls Irish whiskey mixed with American whiskey. Actually, that is the only other, besides Jameson Black Barrel, that is the only other Irish whiskey. Or no, I do have one more actually, and it's a single malt. But it's the weirdly branded Peaky Blinders Irish whiskey.
Yeah. That was a Christmas gift last year.
No, yeah, last year was Bryce said that, yeah.
Yep.
But before
Shout
that,
out to sending in Christmas gifts.
exactly. Yeah. Bryce is the man, dude. Bryce sent it in this year, maybe. Oh wait, no, he did win. He won the Elmer T. Lee. I was really hoping he would too.
Yeah.
Remember that?
I was pretty sure that
was his like favorite whiskey.
I was pretty sure that we made sure that no one won 2 bottles.
Yes.
Yeah.
Maybe that was
I don't know, whatever.
Maybe that was it. No, but I think Paul did win 2 bottles last year. I think it was
actually
it came down to Bryce.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, because only 3 people gave, I think, last year. And the year before, like plenty of people were given. But last year, 3 people gave: Bryce, Paul Clarkson, and Klepsig. Yeah. Well, they like you now. They like you now.
Sure, I guess. Whatever. We'll see. Bryce gave me a new riff last year, if I remember correctly.
What a baller. Love that guy. Yeah, love Bryce Marita. He is
speaking of is he Philadelphia or just Pennsylvania?
No,
let's hone in on exactly where Bryce lives.
So he grew up in San Diego. Also might have been born in Japan.
No. He said Hawaii. He said he's
he mentioned but his mom is Japanese. So, or at least his mom, maybe his dad too. But Marita is a Japanese name. I mean, you look at like what's his name? John Hughes is yelling at the car.
John Hughes Marita. Yes.
No, Pat Morita. Mr. Miyagi was a Japanese man.
Cool.
So Morita is a Japanese name. So I'm assuming both his mom and his dad were Japanese, but there was Hawaii involved. There was San Diego involved. I met him in New Orleans. He lived in Charlotte, I believe, North Carolina for a while. Then he moved to Philadelphia. After Philadelphia, now he lives in like Allentown area, Pennsylvania.
Nice.
So now everyone knows Bryce Marita's business. Sorry to dox you, Bryce.
If you go door to door in Allentown,
yeah,
you'll find Bryce Marita.
But I did leave an interesting point out, is that Allentown is not the exact city that he lives in. So,
ooh, are there suburbs?
I bet this city I've heard of this city.
This city.
So yeah, or this town maybe, or township. Who knows in Pennsylvania? You never know. But yeah, Bryce is not exactly in Allentown, but rather in the Allentown area.
Sure. That's what someone from Allentown would want you to say.
Exactly. They're crazy, those Pennsylvanians.
Mm-hmm.
Who can trust them?
Where it's always sunny, though.
Yes, exactly. It all comes full circle. So anyway, thank you, Bryce, for sending that bottle last year. I actually liked it. It was you wouldn't expect an American Irish blend to be as good as it actually was. So
good.
baller.
That's
Total
cool.
Baller. Okay.
Nice.
Rating. This is actually gonna be interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm thinking I pulled up the rating list. Yeah, okay. Oh man. It's like I liked it, but how much did I
But
like
how
it?
much? That's the question.
Dun, dun, dun.
I have an answer. Do you have an answer?
Okay,
You
no,
have
no,
an
I'm
answer.
thinking.
Okay. On the numerical scale, I'm giving this a high score, actually. Surprisingly high score. 9.3. That tropical fruity note is unmatched amongst good whiskey sometimes. If you can pull out that kind of note to me, it, like I said, it doesn't beat Redbreast 21. I don't know what I gave Redbreast 21. It probably was a little higher than 9.3. This is better than Redbreast 12 to me, and 12 cast strength for sure, or not, rather 12 for sure, maybe cast strength. I don't know. That's a hard one because, like I said, it's not better than Redbreast 21. I give it an A on the numbers or the letter scale. I really like this. My biggest thought is, would I rather spend 500 for Redbreast 21 than spend, because that's almost the difference. Like twice? Nah, it's not. I don't
2
know.
for 1.
Like it's so weird because, like, do I really want like this really good Irish whiskey, or do I want this like really like pretty good? Like this is
And
really
unique.
good. Yeah, and unique. Yeah. And but I love tropical fruity notes. I'm talking like papaya and like pineapple and like almost like mango up in here. Mixed together and put in an Irish whiskey. And surprisingly, it didn't do well with ice. And that's almost a first for the podcast. Where
Right?
an Irish whiskey isn't almost better with ice, but that water
Yeah.
pour was insane. Loved what happened here. A 9.3. Yeah.
Nice. I am a little further off. So there are things to appreciate about this whiskey. There's a unique factor to this whiskey that I think is, it's neat. It's a cool whiskey. It's I'm also new to Irish, so with my unfamiliarity with if I'd even had Irish single malts before, this stands out in my mind as like, okay, well now I've had an Irish single malt and it had some really unique features. I think there was a lot of delicious stuff here, but I think that this sits at like a B- for me.
Oh, wow. Big difference.
Which is my good category. B-, C+, like it is above average in other words. There are more pros than cons, clearly. There are definitely more pros than cons. It has many positive, memorable features. But this is where my preference comes in. Like I think if someone were an Irish whiskey fan, they would rate this more than I am. They would rate this well higher than I am. I just like, how much do I like this? This goes in Bryan's like B- category.
Wow. We need to get you exposed to more good Irish whiskey then.
Send them my way.
Yeah, that means you listeners. Send this guy Jameson vintages. Send this guy Redbreast 27s. Dude, actually, that was a Christmas episode 2 or 3 years back was Joel Bradbury out of Tasmania, Australia, sent us each a Redbreast 27, and that was a killer episode of my goodness, that was good. Port finish 27-year-old Irish whiskey. Holy crap. Yeah. So, all right.
Crazy.
Now that we've rated these whiskeys, We need to send it to our next segment of the show. A segment we like to call I got a cough now. Anyway, segment we like to call Whiskey World News.
All right, welcome back, everybody. This is Whiskey World News, and today I'm reading a press release from who could it possibly be? Buffalo Trace. Tis the
Ayo.
season. They finally announced their Buffalo
Finally.
Trace Antique Collection line. Normally, they announce this like
This is what happens when Amy Preskey leaves Buffalo Trace. Shout out to Amy.
Yeah, right.
No.
So, like a month late at least, finally the news
Like,
comes
at
out.
least. Yeah.
What's up with the antique collection? So Buffalo Trace says Frankfort, Franklin County, blah blah blah. Buffalo Trace Antique Collection has returned for the fall 2024 season, representing some of the finest whiskeys produced by America's oldest continuously operating distillery. This year's portfolio includes all 5 Buffalo Trace Antique Collection staples, in case you were worried that one might not make it this year. Eagle Rare 17, George T. Stagg, Thomas H. Handy, Sazerac 18, and William LaRue Weller, which we are all very familiar with. William LaRue Weller bourbon shines among the collection this year with its caramel notes and long creamy finish. It's fitting that this year also marks the 25th anniversary of Sazerac Company's acquisition of the Weller brand, stated Buffalo Trace Distillery master distiller Harlan Wheatley. For more than 2 decades, we've worked hard to craft the signature flavors that whiskey enthusiasts love, both within the Weller brand and the Buffalo Trace Antique Collection. Our commitment to this tradition is stronger than ever, and we look forward to carrying it well into the future. So, side note, they said the William LaRue Weller bourbon shines among the collection this year, but they didn't really they didn't say why. And they just said it's the 25th anniversary of the acquisition of Weller. But I was kind of hoping there was a reason because it's the oldest William LaRue Weller ever or something, but they didn't say anything like that. So
maybe it just tastes good. They're like, it tastes good. And we're going to buy it. Yeah.
So let's see here. Suggested retail price of $150.
Oh,
so if
moving
you
up.
see it, if you see it over 150, don't buy it.
Don't buy it. Leave it for us.
Yeah. Just a quick rundown on each of the 5. So William LaRue Weller bourbon is, of course, the uncut, unfiltered, weeded recipe bourbon. This year, it is aged 12 years. That barrel entry proof, of course, is 114, and it made its way up to 125.8 is this year's William LaRue Weller, 12 years. Eagle Rare 17 this year is actually 17 years old. Unlike last year, that was 19 years old. But it is, of course, bottled at 101 proof, and it was distilled in the spring of 2007.
Okay.
George T. Stagg this year is 136.1 proof, and its lowest age stated barrel that was in the blend is 15 years and 2 months. So it is a 15-year 136. That sounds delicious.
Oh, yeah.
Sazerac 18.
Okay.
Yeah. No, go ahead.
No, go on.
All right. Sazerac 18, just a standard deal here. It is 18 years, 5 months, and it is 90 proof. And Thomas H. Handy, the rye whiskey barrel strength, that entry barrel proof is 125. It is aged for 6 years this year, and it is at 127.2. So it climbed up just 2 proof points up to be bottled at 127.2 proof this year.
Nice. 2 thoughts. First thought: another year without a 6th bottle on the pocket. And mark my words, it is going to be Elmer T. Lee Reserve or something like that, or what was it,
dude?
Albert B. Blanton's or something like that.
No, dude, 15-year age-stated root beer from Freddie Johnson.
Dude, Freddie Johnson Reserve, baby. That'll be so good. But another year without a 6th bottle, which is okay. I dig it. I dig the 5, but
inevitable.
They still haven't involved. Maybe here's the thing. You think at least your minimum aged BTAC is 6.5 years, but after that it's 12 years. And that's the William LaRue, and then after that it's the typically 15-year George C. Stagg, and then you go into Eagle Rare 17. Sazerac 18. So like the difference in years. But here's the thing is like they had to have realized about 15 years ago that give or take that the mash bill number 2, which is not represented at all in the antique collection, should be well aged. Like getting a Blanton's extra age, like a 13 to 15 year Blanton's bottle.
Yeah.
Like, could you, and a cast strength, could you imagine? Anyway, so that's my first thought. My second thought is that last week I tried one of the best whiskeys of the year. In fact, probably the best whiskey I've had all 2024. And that was William LaRue Weller 2021. What was the proof on this year's William LaRue?
120. Don't know. Oh, sorry. 2024 this year. Yes. Hang on. I got it right here. 125.8.
So the 2021 was not far off. It was 125.3. So I'm not surprised if 2024 William LaRue Weller could match. And dude, Brian Duncan's listening right now. Brian Duncan, get yourself one. Share with us a sample, baby.
Get yourself another one.
Yes, get yourself 2, and I'll buy it.
Because the one that you drank was Brian Duncan's.
Yes, 100%. And Brian already found apparently another like a backup to that one that he got because he was also
working on it.
Fresh cracked that one. Oh yeah. So, but he had never tried the 2021, and he was so blown away, like we were. That he had to get another one. And so
I drank the 2021 and the 2023 side by side, and the 2021 made the 2023 taste like just another whiskey. It was like nothing special.
It was so good. Like I said, I probably mentioned it last week. It was complex in all the good ways. Top 10 whiskey I've ever had, easily.
Dang.
Like up there with seasoned wood, in my opinion. Like so good. Yeah. So no, that's good. Any thoughts yourself besides what you mentioned already?
No, I just kind of wish I knew if there was anything else to make the William LaRue Weller extra special this year, other than simply being like an anniversary or something. But
hey, you still got a chance.
Yeah, I know.
Maybe your connections will help you out with a WL dub.
So number 1 on my list actually this year is Saz 18. So I just really want a Saz. I really like the high age, low proof rise.
And it's rare. It's real rare.
I think Saz 18 is the one with the bottle count that's the lowest.
Usually it is.
Rumored to be the one with the bottle count that's the lowest. So obviously it's hard to find and everything. But
although you never know with the Eagle Rare 17 now at 101 proof, they're not proofing it down as much. Less bottles. Now I'm saying
True. And actually, you were talking about like a high age stated Blanton's or whatever. That I feel like in today's climate, that they would have, if they were to introduce something new, it's going to be a high age, low proof so that they can sell as many bottles as possible. Like it's just
either way. Dude, I would drink a 93 proof Blanton's Special Reserve 8 or 15 year. Like,
can
you imagine? Like people hate on Blanton's, but it's still good. I hate to say it. It's not worth $250 a bottle, but it's still good. Yeah. And at
put out
even 93 proof.
Put out a double Buffalo Very Trace. I will drink it.
Yeah, that's right. Double George Very Stag.
Yeah,
that's great. All right. Anything else before we move on to our results from last week?
No, sir. We've got what whiskey would you choose from last week? We asked you, dear listener, what show meme should we put on our Found North pick sticker? So we put it up against the old classic Single Barrel meme versus the aged in a pizza barrel meme. And now I'm impressed that Aged in a Pizza Barrel did as well as it did. But Single Barrel, of course, won 64% to 36.
Shout out to Rob.
I love the Single Barrel. We got some write-ins though. We got Broaska Testuasa saying Single Barrel and with a bullet with butterfly wings or something.
Something Smashing Pumpkins related.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whiskey with Max. He says Jim. I don't know how to pronounce
Leahy.
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 Jim Leahy drinking from a flask. He did have to explain this
Trailer
one to
Park
me.
Boys. Yeah.
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 So 480 Whiskey wrote in. He said, Super Troopers French fries and
Thanks for
gravy
hitting
from
us up,
Canada.
480. Do you know
Nice.
480?
No, I don't know
He's
him,
somewhere
but
near you.
I know. And he's written in for
He
several
has.
What Whiskey Would You
I'm
Chooses
starting
now.
to believe this boy's a baller.
Yeah, I know, right?
Or gal, shall I say.
Ooh, yeah. Work your way up to some dings here. Keep writing in.
Yeah.
Madtown
Right in.
Marketer wrote in. He said, It gets thicker in my mouth.
That's
That
like first
that
20
could go
episodes meme right there.
that could go well on a bottle,
Yeah.
actually. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. Madtown Marketer wrote in. Oh, all the rest of the
Yeah,
write-ins are
all the
from
rest of them.
Madtown
Yeah.
Marketer.
And that's a total
Oh,
of 4 for the record.
thank you. Well, let's get some dings here for the
Yeah.
multi write-ins.
The Madtown Marketer.
God, dude, if anyone knows the show memes, it's Ben Klebsig.
Dude,
So
he's been
Ben
around.
Klebsig says, Found North fanboys. Yeah,
Yep.
he got us on
Mhm.
that one. That's true.
Yeah.
He also said, that was my nickname in high school, of course. And not really a meme, but a principle. Try it neat with
Yep.
water and with
Surprise you
ice.
sometimes. Hey,
Yeah,
not often does water win the battle. And today was
it's
one of
true.
those days.
But
Yeah.
today was one of those days. Yeah. Now, I got to say, I
Mhm.
regret to inform everyone
Okay.
that we received our guidelines on the sticker from Found North,
Uh-huh.
and it only includes the incorporation of our logo.
Dang it.
Yeah.
We can't say it's a Songle barrel.
So I don't know. I'm sure we'll ask
We
Chris,
can
whatever.
work it. Yeah.
But as it currently stands, what they ask from people for barrel picks
Mhm.
is send us your logo
Uh-huh.
and send us a location and time for us to include as like latitude, longitude,
Yeah. Well, that's cool.
minutes, seconds, kind of
Yeah.
thing. But
Mhm.
now here's what I'm thinking, and
Okay.
I have not run this by you yet, but like we're hot on the air right now.
Hot.
I feel like the latitude longitude location should be the Bush's Baked Beans
Oh,
plant.
heck yeah.
Yeah. So now here's what this would be. Like
Yeah.
it's so subtle. Like
Yeah.
all it would
Mhm.
say is just numbers of like
Yeah.
degrees or
Minutes,
minutes,
seconds. Yeah.
latitude,
Mhm.
longitude, whatever. And then so if someone were to care to Google
Actually
that,
look it
then
up.
the
Yeah.
pin on Google Maps would click down
I'm
on the
into that.
Bush's
If we
Baked
can't
Beans.
do Songle barrel, then we need to do
Yeah.
that. Yeah. Mhm.
So that's probably the way we're going to move forward. Let us know if that sounds good to you.
Yeah.
Write in on Instagram here. But I got a
Mhm.
question for you now.
Yep. Mhm.
It is a question. It is a recurring question. I asked it last year. Someone else asked it the year before, but it's
Always
this
have.
time of year. It
Mhm.
must be asked again. What is your campfire whiskey? Because the temperatures are cooling outside. I got the
Yep.
windows open, cloud cover today. It is
Yeah.
the fire pit season. So, what are you taking out to your fire pit with you?
So you told me before this episode that I couldn't repeat what I always do, and
That's
every
right.
time I've been asked this question, I say Redbreast 12 cast strength, which is
Ooh.
fitting for an Irish whiskey episode. The only reason I say that is because that's basically what I do every time I go to camping, or at least I go camping. I bring some Redbreast 12 cast strength.
Yeah. And so you
Um,
can't say that because you're not in possession of it because it's at my house and
yeah,
I got
I
to
don't
figure
have
out a
any
way to
right
get
now.
it to you.
All right, of what I have, I'm going to point to it right now. Ardbeg
Mm,
Hypernova. It's got the smoke.
Hey,
It's got the
dude. Yeah,
campfire.
for sure.
It's amazing, and I haven't sipped it in a while, so I would love to be able to sip that again and enjoy a
Nice.
nice campfire with a nice campfire. So,
Nice. Now, I had a little note to myself of what I was going to say, and
okay.
Cole and I were talking before the episode, and then I was telling him, "Nah, like I don't want to hear what you've said in years past. You got to have something new. What's the
Yeah,
2024 campfire whiskey?" And then I
yeah,
suddenly realized that it was what I said last year, what I had
nice,
written down. I had Found North written last year because
nice.
last year we were invited over to a friend's house who had a fire pit. So I brought Found
Mm,
North. I'm pretty sure it was batch 9. No, I'm pretty sure
nice.
it was batch 8.
Yeah, nice.
But anyway, I had written down batch Found North batch 10, and then I was like, crap, I
That's
can't do that.
funny.
So
Hmm.
this year, I'm all about if I'm at a fire pit and I'm cold, I want at least high-ish proof and I want maximum flavor. So that
Yeah.
is Jack Daniel's Coy Hill, which is
Nice.
right
Right
there.
there.
If you're watching on YouTube, yeah, right there. This is the 2024 Coy Hills. Mine is 124.0
Yeah,
proof.
which is the lowest I've heard of, but I bet it's delicious.
I've seen a couple lower, but
Okay.
lately, actually, some photos
Mhm.
came out of some like 137s. Can you
Which is
believe it?
high for the batch 3 or whatever it
And it
is.
was definitely the 2024 release, but
Nice.
somehow there were some like 137s
Dude,
of the
I would love
2024
that.
release, and those are like prized. But
Nice.
anyway, this drink, it's so flavorful. There's so much
Nice.
going on that you just like you forget what proof you're
Mhm.
drinking, and it just totally all the proof is masked by all the delicious sweet flavors of
Yeah.
that. And so now that I'm done, and I'm not going to give you an opportunity to talk, let me roll right into Cole. Which of these whiskeys did you forget to try while you were here? Did you even drink the Bowman cast strength right there?
So I've had it before, which is why I wasn't leaning towards it.
Okay, okay.
But,
Did you drink
out of the
anything over here above my shoulders?
I don't think I did. Actually, yeah. I had
Goodness.
the William LaRue Weller, the
Of
2023
course.
to match
Oh, yeah,
that.
very good, very good.
But no, I don't think so.
Dang.
Yeah, none of them. Even
You know what?
the Michter's 10 I didn't try, yeah, but you
Uh,
sent me a sample, so
yeah, you've got 2 of those now.
yeah.
But even, we were texting beforehand, and I was like, "Dude, as soon as you get here, we're gonna kill my 2022 George T.
Yeah.
Stag."
Oh,
And
yeah,
then
I forgot about that.
we just never touched
That
it.
was how busy we were and
I
how
know.
almost we weren't like, we never overdid it, but we were so close to overdoing it that we were like,
Yeah,
"No, I'm good. I'm good. I don't wanna
very
drink
close.
anymore until next event." Um,
Exactly.
yeah, and, so that was the thing. Like, even when we went, shout out to Slugifus, Patrick White, we, uh we went over to his place at one point and I was like, "Dude, I can't even finish the drink he poured me." And it was a good cocktail. I loved it,
Yeah.
but I couldn't even finish it because I was just it wasn't that I was drunk, it wasn't that I was anything. I was just full in every way. Like I felt like full on food, full on liquid. I was just
Full
like,
on
"Oh, I'm good."
happiness.
Full
Yeah.
on Phoenix experience. So,
Good.
yeah.
Guess we did
So,
it right
next
then.
time. Yeah. Next time we'll figure it out. And actually, dude, you so okay, this is not you owe me anything because I probably owe you more. Um, but there are the courier has to prep his muscly arms for like I want to say like 12 bottles or something like that that
I
are
started a
yeah.
Cole and I have an IOU spreadsheet, and
Mhm,
it's updated now, and it
mhm,
includes, bottles that I possess that Cole owns.
mhm, yeah,
So, yeah, we need to figure that out.
yeah. And I'll pay the courier nicely. But yeah, there's like a lot of bottles.
And there's drink along bottles in there, so
Oh
obviously,
yeah.
like, we gotta figure those out in a somewhat
Yeah.
timely manner. Oh, you know what I didn't put on there was Christmas present stuff.
Oh, yeah, we gotta I haven't even bought you your Christmas present yet.
Oh, yeah, dude, all I got your bottles, plural, accounted for
Yeah,
already, so
yeah. And then actually you can see it in the on the right side of the screen, the, thing that looks like a, phone, that is a phone decanter, like an old school phone decanter from Jim Beam. That was the one that I brought to the bottle share,
did
and,
you go ahead.
no, yeah, some people got vinegar notes on it. I
Yeah,
didn't, but I only had a very small sip because I was afraid of the lead poisoning, so we'll figure it
yeah.
out.
I was straight apple cider vinegar on that.
Really?
Did
Okay.
you stick your finger in the rotary phone
Yeah,
numbered
it turns.
click, click, click,
Yeah,
click, click,
yeah.
click?
Yeah. Slowly, but yeah.
Maybe we it's so old, maybe we exercised it too much, but
Yeah.
I did it just yesterday, and
Mhm.
I pulled a number down, and when I let go, the rotary
Like,
dial was like,
mm.
it was like
Yeah, that
trying
sounds good. Yeah,
so
yeah.
hard. Oh,
Mhm.
okay.
You gotta,
It's
like,
like
force it back up,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. You could tell that it wanted to. Like, you could tell
Mhm.
that, like, 30 years ago, if you'd done this, it
Yeah.
would have just like click, 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 click back up.
Yeah.
But it
Mhm.
does not do that anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. No, which is fine. We don't really need
Yeah.
the decanter as much as we need the liquid therein.
Yeah. So actually, yeah, I should next bottle I kill, which should be soon. I've been trying to kill bottles
Yeah.
lately. I'll just
Kill
put it
'em.
in that bottle. Yeah.
Dude, I was drinking yesterday. I was trying to kill my batch 1 of, barrel proof Bernheim.
Yeah.
Wasn't that bad. Wasn't
No,
bad.
it's good.
Not
Yeah.
bad. Yeah.
I
And, but
so
dude, I'm so slow at finishing bottles.
I talked about this
Mhm.
some episodes ago, but
Yeah.
the one thing I overbought on, well, okay,
Mhm.
the number one thing I overbought on in my life was
Yeah.
Elijah Craig barrel proofs.
Mhm. Totally.
And so now I have in the barrel that you can't see off screen over here,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
uh, there's a little barrel over there that holds 60 ounces.
Yeah.
And
The
I ran an
Urkel-gig.
experiment. The Urkig snack, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I ran an experiment in there where
Uh-huh.
I pulled samples at 0 days,
Mhm.
uh 1 week, 2, 3, 4 weeks,
Okay.
6, 8, 12 weeks, and then
Mhm.
15 weeks. And that was the whole thing. And
Yeah.
like I tried it a little bit too, and it did get like sweeter and much more
Mhm.
palatable because what I put in there
Interesting.
was an absolute garbage blend of whiskeys I don't care about at
Nice.
all. I was literally
Mhm.
just like, don't want this bottle anymore, don't want that
Yeah.
bottle anymore. So
Mhm.
it was all rye and bourbon, but it's just a monstrosity of rye
That's
and
funny.
bourbon. But I can see
Abomination.
how the barrel progressed the whiskey over
Mhm.
time.
Yeah, that's cool.
But anyway, the next thing I was excited to do there was to dump all my Elijah Craig barrel proofs in there. Uh,
Mhm.
so like just to kill, Elijah Craig
Gotta
barrel
do it.
proofs.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I ended up killing 4 different bottles that I had of Elijah Craig barrel proof,
Nice.
at various fill levels. But
Mhm.
I was able to strike out 4 Elijah Craig barrel proofs off the spreadsheet because they're
Nice.
in the barrel now, and I'll let it
Nice.
go for a lot longer time now. I think I'll only pull samples at like 1 month, 2 month, 3 month,
Nice.
kind of. So yeah, we'll see.
That's cool. Yeah, because 'cause you've already used it a little bit.
Yeah.
I think I told you I have a C918 that is unopened
Yes.
still. Actually, it's right behind me. It's,
Yeah.
this guy with
What
the
you waiting
black
for
lid
on
on
that
it.
one?
Or is it that lid? Uh, honestly,
You're waiting for
here's
the
my
right
thought.
person to push you in the right direction? Do it.
No, honestly, that might be one of the bottles I trade one day, I don't even know if it'll be
What?
worth a lot. But,
No.
like, I'm not blown away by
Oh,
ECBPs, except for I really did enjoy C923, which
yeah.
is the middle one here, on this
Nice.
shelf.
Is it
Um,
open?
no, but you sent me, like,
Sir.
multiple samples of it, so that's
Good.
part of it. But I will
Yeah,
open
actually,
it for sure,
I
so
sent you, I believe,
you
2
sent me a
different laser
duo,
codes.
yeah, mhm,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
mhm.
The
I still haven't sipped
A22 and the
those yet.
A23. Yeah.
Mhm. But, that's one that I definitely will be opening, but, like, the
Heck yeah.
18 is, like at this point, it's over 6 years old, and it's gonna be a Dusty eventually, and maybe I will open it as a Dusty, or I'll trade it for something one of these days, but
That was the 4th Christmas bottle from last year. Elijah
totally.
Craig or nope, no, never mind.
No, because I
I
bought my own.
hooked up I hooked up Ben Klepsig,
That's right, I remember that.
outside of the Christmas deal with a
See, we
C923.
take care of
Yeah.
our listeners. They need
Yeah.
something, we'll take care of them. Yeah, so, no, that's cool.
Okay.
Anything else?
Now,
What should we drink next week?
so now here's the deal. Here's the deal.
Uh-huh,
Here's the
uh-huh,
deal.
uh-huh.
We have an interview scheduled
That's
currently,
right. That's right.
but we have not been notified of samples being on their way
Right.
to us yet.
Yeah, we can't do that.
Now, the samples that were said that they may be
Dude,
able to send us this thing.
crazy if they are, yeah.
I don't wanna jinx it. I don't wanna say
Yeah.
anything. I wanna let
Mhm.
them get that to us on
But it's,
their
like, right
own
up me and
time.
Brian's alley to the
Oh
max. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
I'm so stoked.
yeah.
It's something
Mhm.
that I've wanted for a very long time. And then
Yes.
they were like, "Oh, I think we'll be able to send this to you." And I'm like, "Oh." But we had the interview scheduled for Friday, and at this rate, I
Mhm.
don't think it's gonna get here by Friday.
Dude,
So
we should
come
email it
like
today.
yeah. Well, so
I'll
here's
do
the
it if you
thing.
don't.
Well, I don't want to push them
Yeah.
to end up sending us something else instead just to get it here on time.
True.
So I'd rather push the interview off a
But what
week.
if they don't send something at all?
No, they
If
will.
they're like, "We already haven't." Yeah.
They've been very communicative.
We'll talk. We'll talk after this.
We'll talk. We'll talk. But anyway, if they don't send us something, you'll see a 2-pick Tuesday. We'll do something.
Yeah.
We got our non-American fix here this week.
Mhm.
Let's go American. Let's
Yeah.
just go something. Maybe we'll do we never got around to the Makers
Cellar Age
2024.
2024, yeah.
Yeah. Good. Dang, got it
Um,
right there.
yeah. Um, should we mention who the interviewee is or who the
You know,
distillery is?
I mentioned it to many people here at the
Dude,
Barrel Picks, so
be
maybe we
great.
should go ahead and
I'm
let the world
so
know.
excited,
I know.
because this is a not it's hard. I don't like the word craft distillery or smaller distillery. I like growing distillery, because these guys are definitely getting bigger and definitely have a great reputation and do not source, which is not a bad thing. But the fact that they don't source makes them even more respectable. Minimum product, 4 years, out of Danville, Kentucky. We are interviewing one of the founders of Wilderness Trail, who's like
Yeah.
the scientist. Like he's like the guy that we talked about Wilderness Trail plenty of times. They started their company as a like science company that had to do with these proprietary strains of yeast that like many companies in Kentucky and outside of Kentucky in the whiskey world were using their proprietary strains of yeast that they um, honed in on. These guys are like the scienciest of science of the craft distillery world and growing distillery. So what's his name? I forget his name.
Doctor Pat Heist.
I love it. Yeah, we've mentioned that name a good few times on the podcast, but Pat
Yeah.
Heist, Dr. Pat Heist. Sorry.
And like
doctor.
Wilderness Trail was one of my first loves.
Dude,
Like
they make
real
good
whiskey
stuff.
loves.
Yeah.
And then I learned how sciencey they are. And then I fell even more in love with them. What does it say, Cole?
That's
What does
the
it
single
say?
barrel I have.
Oh, good.
Your
Yeah.
way. Yeah. So
Yeah.
good.
Anyway.
I've never had a Wilderness Trail except for no, I haven't had a Wilderness Trail that I haven't liked. Yeah.
Yeah. The yeasty doctor himself, Pat Heist.
Dr. Yeast.
The Yeasty Boys. Dude, that's the
Dude, if you
thumbnail.
bring that up. Yeah, that's it.
That's
The
the
Yeasty
thumbnail.
Boys. It's gonna be so good.
Okay. As long as Pat Heist is
Yeah.
like
Doctor
cool.
Pat Heist.
Yeah, we're
Sir
going the
Pat
Yeasty
Heist.
Boys for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah. And we'll be like,
Yeah,
well,
definitely.
actually what we
get
should do
him
is
to
take
stage a thumbnail.
No, we just do the faces on a Beastie Boys album,
Yeah.
and then the bodies of like these three, Jewish boys from Brooklyn. We'll just
Yes.
replace our face in each one. Ad Rock,
Perfect.
MCA, Mike
Yeah.
D. You know what I'm saying?
Mike
It'd be great.
D's.
Mike
Well,
D's
yeah.
nuts.
Sam will churn that out in 10 minutes. No
Oh
problem.
yeah, it'll be great. Yeah. So
Yeah.
Yeasty Boys coming right up. So
But
anyway, we're
anyway,
really excited about that.
that may or may not be the next episode.
Yes.
You'll
Might have to
see.
record
We'll
two.
see.
But if it isn't the Yeasty Boys, Dr. Pat Heist, any thoughts? Oh, you said the Maker's Cellar Age. Anything else?
Yeah. Well, so I don't know. Everyone keeps voting against Maker's Cellar Aged every time we put it up for a vote. But like, we got to get one of those episodes out, man.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, but what about the reserves? What about Booker's The Reserves? We could put that.
Did we not
against
do that yet?
Story. No, it's still right here.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Hopefully
Let's
better
just
than the Infinite.
Cellar Aged and Booker's Reserve. That's
Yeah.
perfect. We'll do that.
Sweet. Sounds good. All right. I hope Dr. Pat Heist is stoked about the Yeasty Boys.
I know, me too. And I hope that you had a good Halloween. I meant to ask you about Halloween. Was it good?
Girls
Real
loved
quick.
it. Yep. And Beck is obsessed with her bucket of candy that she sometimes gets to dip into.
Only on Fridays.
Like we're holding her off for like more than one a day at this point. So yeah.
You let her have more than one a day, or
Yes.
what?
No, we like are trying to avoid her getting used to the idea of like, oh, I'm gonna drink this, 100, times a day. Like, so we're like one a day is
Yeah,
a we sometimes will do two a day,
yeah.
but she like gets the sugar monkey on her back and she like just gets obsessed with it. Yeah, which I do
She's
too.
like
I get it.
itching her neck.
Yeah,
She's like, "Y'all got any
y'all
more of
got any
that?"
more of that? Yeah, exactly.
Nice,
So,
nice. Okay, well,
um,
good. I hope Beck can restrain herself there from the
yeah.
old sugar sugar monster.
Sugar monkey. Yep. I hope that I don't put on a lot of weight now that I also have the sugar monkey on my back. But most of all, listeners, viewers, those out there that are somehow taking in this podcast in some crazy way, we hope that our love of whiskey lifted your spirits. Could you imagine? Anyway,